and I oftentimes say this, man, when lawyers and egos and attitudes get involved, all common sense go right out the window. And that's just a fact. I don't know what it takes. You don't need the threat of being sued or the threat of knowing, well, you know what, I've got this law degree and the law reads A, B and C. We're talking about a human life being lost here. And we're talking about essentially another human life that's on the verge of being lost. Okay, so you're protecting him. Right. And why is this? Because of the CBA and the, labor right. It's just, I don't know. Just crazy, man. Absolutely crazy.
Well, it is tough, right? Because on the one hand, you can respect the Dallas Cowboys organization for trying to protect one of their own, to take care of one of their own, and not just kick him to the curb, right?
Steve, this is about This is about a kid that's an exceptional athlete, and they find value in putting him on the field. Not trying to be funny. I would love to make this sound like it's a kumbaya story, but I'm telling you right now, if he didn't have the ability to play, in other words, if this was a guy that was on the practice squad that had done the same thing, I guarantee you, not only would he be cut, this wouldn't even be news right now because he wouldn't have made anybody's team. So he'd just be an average guy that was out there that got caught, screwing up again. And those are just the facts. People don't want to hear that, but those are the facts.
It's true. I would agree with that. But the tough part from the Dallas Cowboys perspective is, and even if that is 100% the case, they're in a bind. That if they put him out on the field like they did, it sends a really bad message in terms of it almost supports the guy's drinking and his behavior up to that point. It almost condones it. At least that's the message that kind of goes out there to all the other players. They're looking at this. It's like, wow, what do you have to do to get banned from the sideline? I guess killing somebody is not on that list, but oh well. It is, especially when you come to substance abuse, drug addiction, alcohol abuse. The NFL, the NFLPA, they need to really stick together and come up with a comprehensive policy that's going to treat this like the disease that it is, and also protect other players and protect the integrity of the league. So we'll see where this goes.
No doubt, buddy, no doubt. What's up next?
Well, everyone is listening to First and Life, and you can find us at www.firstandlife.com, firstandlife.com. Like us on Facebook and connect with us on Twitter. We're there as well. We wanted to talk about Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, and some of the comments that he had around the way players get cut, the good old Turk. And, basically the message there was to help, look out for the players' physical well-being as something the NFL is concerned about, but also their mental, emotional well-being and the process of getting cut and trying to provide more dignity to the player that's getting cut. So what are your thoughts about that, Corey? I was curious. We didn't get a chance to talk about it.
Well, personally, bro, having been there and had it happen ultimately to me, even though it was a injury settlement, there is no nice way about getting released from the National Football League. That those are the facts, and that's what I'm saying now. Again, I'm not trying to be funny here. I don't want to sound like my voice is the only voice here, but it's like, why are we even having this conversation? Because there is no humane way of cutting someone. It's like you dating a girl, and all of a sudden, you've been in love with this girl for 5 years, and then she wake up one day and say, you know what? You're not doing it for me. I don't love you anymore. All right? It's just no nice way. There's no nice way to put it. All right, fine. Some guys are fortunate enough to play the game, i.e. Ray Lewis, Brett Favre. I can name a couple others that, while no, they weren't cut, they just knew that, wow, you know what, this is it. I think a prime example of that this week, Brian Urlacher from the Bears. He could have signed somewhere else for $2 million, but he was trying to go back to the Bears, and the Bears was like, dude, we're not giving you a contract extension at $5 million per season. When we know you're pretty much so hobbling. So he did the best thing. He walked away. Now, essentially, guess what? He got cut. No matter how you look at it, they were in contract negotiations since last year. As a matter of fact, they offered him a contract. He turned it down because he felt like it wasn't enough money. So now he goes and he rides it out and he waits. And then he goes into the off season, and they're like, well, okay, you know what? We're not even offering you that now. So he got cut. See, it was just a nicer way of putting it. But ultimately, he got cut. Ryan, you weren't good enough anymore. So I like what what Roger's saying about, well, they're going to try and improve the programs. All right, that's fine, but I'm telling you right now, you take a 26-year-old kid that just made it to the last week of training camp. The last thing he's really thinking about the next week is, oh, by the way, I'm gonna go to some job training, because I guarantee you, his agent, his college football coach, his girlfriend or wife, whatever it is probably in his ear saying, guess what? You might get picked up. Who knows? Somebody may get hurt. You may get picked up, and that sort of goes back to some of the things we've even talked about, Steve, about how it's a shame because you see these college kids come out, they don't make it, but then the agent and advisors are all in their ear saying, well, you know what? Don't go back to school just yet because you need to keep working out. You need to be in shape. I wish there was a nicer way to say it, but there is no nicer way to put it, man. And I'll shut up and let you take it.
Well, I was curious. We could talk about our own personal experiences, but I will agree with you in that moment.
All right. Well, okay. Well, wait a minute. All right.
When it's all happening.
No. Since you just went there, let's take this time out. Let's take a minute on this. How did it happen for you? And I'll tell you how it happened for me.
Okay. Well, essentially what happened for me was, it was late in training camp. It was right around the final cuts, and I was hurt. I'd hurt my knee in one of the preseason games, and was banged up, and so I was a little bit nervous, I guess, to even go in because I was just wondering, I had no idea what was going to happen. And but my guard was up, I guess. So just one day, going to a meeting just like any other day, and all of a sudden, we're sitting in the offensive line meeting room, and I think Bud, the trainer, comes in and says, "Hey, Steve, I want to talk to you." So I leave the meeting, I go out, and then he says, Marv and John want to talk to you upstairs. And so, I remember just being in a complete daze and walking up the stairs to talk to the general manager and the head football coach, and they're telling me, Steve, you're a good player. There's some teams out there, that really interested, and so, but what we need to do is put you on injured reserve. And I knew right then and there what that meant.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, there's no nice way to put this. Steve, believe it or not, I remember we were watching film, bro. I remember that day. I was up in the front, sitting beside Ruben. You were in the back, and I remember when Bud opened the door, and not because that was strange. They don't normally come into our film. When does the trainer come in? Unless you're Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, Tim Kelly, you got some kind of aches and pain. They ain't coming to damn see us. They'll come down and bring them aspirin, all right. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is the worst feeling in the world, and my heart went out to you, bro. I remember the day. Trust me, I remember the day. And what was even crazy is that next year, believe it or not, it came down to me and Bubba, because they had me slotted to basically take his spot. I like Glenn to this day, and I felt bad because it was about, now it's about money, and now it's about the older guy and the younger guy. And that's why I'm sitting here saying there's no nice, it's just business. As much as I hate to honestly say, I wish they would send us a bouquet of flowers and a check, and say, well, here's an extra couple $100,000 for your troubles for coming to training camp this year. No, it doesn't happen like that. It does not happen like that. So again, I don't want to be the dead horse, man. I'll tell you mine.
But before you do, just on your point, when that happened, right, Buffalo, Marv, John, everybody did the best they could. I have no grievance against the way they did it. But to Goodell's point, the NFL, the NFLPA, they're the ones that really need to step up and let guys know, hey, you were on a team, you signed a contract, you were in camp, whatever. that's a special accomplishment, and we want to make sure that you feel like you're part of our family for the rest of your life, and just acknowledge that, say that.
But unfortunately, Steve, it's about the dues paying members, bro. As much as I hate to honestly say it, as the old saying goes, you can't make the club in the tub. Well, you ain't getting a whole lot of return phone calls if you ain't paying dues either, and that's just a fact. And they, right. They may blast me for actually saying that, but again, I'm gonna always tell the absolute truth. So. I agree with you, though. I do hear you, but I don't care what anyone says, man. There's just no good way to find out that I was not good enough.
Right.
I used the analogy earlier about, a girlfriend or whatever. I remember the first woman that ever broke my heart. I remember thinking, oh, my gosh, like, am I not good enough? Am I not good enough? It's just, hey, she didn't like me like I liked her. I got over it.
I mean, it's almost exactly the same feeling. It's like a broken heart, It's rejection. I'm not good enough.
There you go. And nobody wants to be rejected.
Yeah, or told they're not good enough.
No one wants to be
no
rejected.
uncertainty.
Right.
So,
right.
And then, you continue, that process continues, like you say, you got agents, you got families, you got coaches, you got people whispering in your ear, hey, you can still do this, you can try this, do that. And you got no one saying it's okay. You're okay, and you end up getting this distorted sense of who you are and what's wrong and all that crazy stuff. So let's hear about your story, Corey.
Well, mine was really, really simple. I in training camp doing some ridiculous lifting because I always tell folks I was in the best shape of my life, but unfortunately injured. My problem started back during the summer workouts, bro. I hurt my back first doing what was called then a clean jerk lift. Steve, I essentially had 350-pound power clean and then snatched and jerked and then pressed up over my head. And something told me, don't do this, Corey. This is crazy. And we had a strength coach named Al Bubba Miller. And if he's listening right now, shame on you, Al. But I'm going to leave it like that. So he used to have this thing where you had to jerk it, you had to clean it, and then press it and hold it, Steve. Hold it for 5 seconds. And I remember thinking 1001, 1002, 1003, and I didn't get 4 out. Dude, something sounded like a shotgun. It was like, pow, and I dropped the weight, and I was like, oh, gosh. And he comes over to me, and he has this damn rolling. He's trying to roll my back out. Just lay on the ground, son, lay on the ground. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? You trying to roll my back out? Dude, I know I just blew something. Well, make a long story short, I had a bulge in my disc. I practically blew out one of my discs. So they started shooting me up with Toradol. I don't know any better, man. I can admit this now. I had no clue. I found out later that Toradol is a drug that they use on the horses, race horses. So they shoot me up with Toradol. So I essentially missed the next month and a half, almost 2 months, right before camp starts. So I go into camp thinking I'm okay because what I found is that Toradol masks the pain. All right. Fast forward. I tear my groin, blow it apart, playing against Bryce Pop. And they come to me, and they're like, well, we can't cut you technically because of your cap value, but we can put you on IR or we can give you an injury settlement. So I was like, okay, where are you going, with this? I'm thinking, all right, give me 6 weeks and I can come back, right? And they were like, well, we don't know if we can give you 6. We'll give you 3. I'm like, well, why not just give me enough time to heal? Why not give me enough time to actually say, you know what, I'm better, So we went back and forth and back and forth. And essentially I was like, no, I know the game. I'm not signing off on any papers. You're not cutting me because of my cap value. So I'll just sit here on your roster basically taking up a spot, and when we can come to some terms, because mind you, Steve, they had just technically signed me. They owe me like another $2 million in a bonus, I'm like, dude, there's no way. So while, yes, I got cut, at least I can say I got cut and I walked away with a nice quote unquote grievance, so a nice check. That's what I mean by knowing that, yeah, okay, you're gonna get cut, but it's a big difference from, yeah, I got cut and I walked away with roughly $2.5 million versus saying I got cut and I walked away with my playbook. or I walked away with my T-shirt, and that's why I say there's just no way, there's no nice way about this, man.